everyone. So first, I want to appreciate the organization. So I really want to appreciate it's a real privilege which I'm not going to take for granted. And also, I want to appreciate everyone who has registered or just who has found their way here today. I so much appreciate your presence, and I hope that at the end of today, we'll all be HR together. The topic before me, without wasting too much time again, is HR forecasting for 2026. How agri-businesses can plan their workforce needs today. So, like I earlier said, all of us will become this HR, the tech HR that we want to be today at the end of today's session. So let's just dive in. I do know that it's impossible for us to just go into a topic without showing some definition without having the background definition of what that means. So dividing our strategy now. I write here that HR forecasting and workforce planning, I give their definition. So these are not just HR terms for us to understand. They are essential strategic tools that ensure your farm or agribusiness can meet its operational goal for 2026 and beyond. So this is not only going to be useful for 2026 that we're planning, but in other times you'll be making use of what we are going to learn today. So I define HR forecasting another words, the prediction, which means the process of predicting the future demand and supply of labor, skills, and costs. So when you are doing HR forecasting, it's not as though you are only forecasting people, I mean labor, apart from the people, which is the general, let me say it's a layman language that when you say HR, when you say you are forecasting HR now, you just ask a layman, you say, oh, that means you are talking about people, but not only people. Like a mere man will say, a mere business owner will say that if one goes, another one will come in. Such a person does not really understand what human resource is, because human resource to me and to you at the end of today would mean not just a man, but also the skills that that person possesses and also the cost. So HR forecasting answers the question, what kind of workforce will we need in the future? So it works with time frame. That is, it can be short term. So we can be talking about 1 to 2 years for short term. We can be talking about medium terms, which is 3 to 5 years, and we can be talking about even long term, which can be 10 years and above. So then it also has to do with the output, that is the gap analysis. So are we short skilled, not short personnel now? Are we having 10 skilled men, or we are having 10 but 5 skilled men, or 5 skilled machineries and all? So that is what HR forecasting is. Then workforce planning on its own is the action plan. So I would say that HR forecasting is the lens for you thinking, the abstract, why the workforce planning is putting it into action. Okay, you have thought about it that, oh, in 2026, this is what I want to do. This is, um, I should be needing, I should be needing this skill. I should be needing this number of people. Then the workforce planning will now answer with will make you pick up your pen and your jotter or whatever thing you are using, or your gadget, say laptop, phone, or anything, to now put out the processes of creating and implementing specific action plans to close the gap identified by the forecast. Somebody getting me now? So workforce planning is the action that you would take that will help you to create, it will help you to implement specific action plans to close the gap identified by the forecast. It answered the questions, how do we get the right people with the right skills at the right time? So its own branch or its own embodiment is activities that is the recruitment, the training or reskilling, the retention, welfare and all. Then it also has output, that is the strategy that you will use. Or probably you want to launch a retention bonus, you want to partner with some people and all. So the key takeaway here for this forecasting and workforce planning is that forecasting tells you what, planning tells you how. I hope we are getting it now. So we now move to our prediction actions. Now let's go into the topic. Before we now go into the topic, we already know the definition that, oh, you want to, you have, you are seeing the future and you want to take some actions to meet up with that things that you are seeing, what you are envisaging in your mind for your agribusiness. Now, you need to look at the challenges that agribusinesses are facing before you just launch into solution or getting to do that which you want to do, that which is planning. Now, the challenge is, why do we want to plan now? Why should we even plan now? This is just, okay, I don't want to say this is just November, but this is November. In my own calendar is already December anyways. So the reality for agribusiness is that the traditional labor model is changing fast. Really, agribusiness is not what we used to think, that, oh, everybody carry their cutlass and their hose, they move they go in the morning, then they come back in the evening. No, it's not like that again. Things are changing. Agribusiness is evolving, so we have to go with it. So if your HR plan now wants to start when someone quits, probably one of your employees says, oh, I want to go to school, I want to go to town, then you're already behind. So we need to evolve with the machinery. We need to evolve with the skills that are involved in agriculture. Now, that's why I say that, what are the challenges? We have the labor challenge, shortage, and skill gap. You will agree with me that most people now, they want to go to cities. Everybody wants to wear shirt. Everybody wants to wear tie, put on glasses, and carry laptop. Then we can bring that even into agriculture, and that's why we're having agri-tech. So we need skills to meet up with this. Then cost in action is that we have reduced yield, if you don't monitor this skill shortage as it's going, if you don't evolve the way agribusiness is evolving, if you don't follow suit, we have the cost of our inactions, which is going to be a reduced yield. Probably we will not have enough food. And somebody like me that likes food, please, we need to take action. Then we have high turnover, we miss opportunities for efficiency boosting tech. So that tells us that human resource management is a strategic business tool for continuity and profitability, not just hiring and payroll, not just get them for me, let me pay them. There are more to it. So today, I bring to us a 3-step HR forecasting framework. So if somebody is following, just kindly let me know that you are still following me and you are not tired from what happened in the farm today. So just show me an emoji that you are still hearing me and you are still with me. Thank you. Thank you. So I bring to us a 3-step HR forecasting framework. Yes. So the first of this step is the demand forecast. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. So the first one is what I call the demand forecast. What do we need? So without needing something, we can't just launch out and say we want to cover up. So what do we need? What exactly do we need? So based on our 2026 operational plan, how many people and which specific skills will be required? Or let me ask, we don't have a plan yet. You don't know what part of agri business we want to have. I'm very sure that by now, this is last Thursday in November, so everybody already have a plan. You already plan, oh, I want to add tomatoes farming to my family. I want to add this and I want to add that. So our demand forecast is going to tell us what do we need based on our 2026 operational plans. What do we need? Then the supply analysis is the second step that we are going to digest today. So what do we have? So this is what we need on the left side. Then in the middle, what do we have? Even as at now, as we are speaking, what is on the team? What is our retention risk? And what is our internal skill gap? Then the last step, which is going to be gap strategy. How do we fill the gap? How exactly do we fill this gap? Are we going to hire more? is our own strategy going to hire more, need hiring, or is going to just need us to train the ones we have, or we are even going to introduce some technology? That's why I said earlier that human resource is not just about, oh, um, if I have 10, if anyone goes, I have another one. It's not necessarily about who is in or what the number of people. Sometimes what you need or what your business needs is just an upskilling, is just training. It's just, so we are going to discuss that further as we move on. So our gap strategy, how do we fill the gap? Now let's go into the step one, which is forecasting your 2026 labor demand. I underline the demand because that's what that covers. Now, forecasting your 2026 labor demand. I highlighted here that this must be tied directly to your business plan for 2026. Now, you already have the farm, you've gotten the farmland, the capital is already down. Now, how do you forecast your 2026 labor? The first thing is, the first option, we have two options here for the first step. Please don't be distracted. We have two options for the first step, which is forecasting your 2026 labor demand. And the first one I say is operational changes. So what would even lead to the demand for labor? First thing can be operational change. And we have that in probably you want to expansion or you want to have new crops. Probably you need to quantify what exact labor for increased acreage or new crops. Probably, okay, let me say you have been a watermelon farmer, and in 2026, you want to explore tomato, you want to add tomato to it, or you want to add vegetables. So this will definitely imply that you need more labor. So you need to add labor to part of what you already have or to the current staff you have at hand. It could be your own could be technology adoption. Probably you want to get a new tech. We already said it now. Everybody will soon start wearing tie and suits to the farm. Yes, we are getting there. So is it that you are adopting new technology? You want to buy drone or you want to automate your farm? That means you will be reducing manual labor and you will increase demand for specialized skills. So is that what is making you? So you have to identify which of these is prompting you to um, forecasting this labor for 2026? Or is there a new regulation whereby you need probably somebody to a compliance coordinator or a compliance officer, for example? Maybe government has just introduced a new rule or a new rule. Sorry, a new rule that okay, you will need a regulation or a compliance officer who might necessarily not be a full-time staff to you. Probably somebody that will need to be coming quarterly just to see that you are compliant. So this also needs to be put into consideration under our option A, which is operational changes. Then another option B that can lead to forecasting your 2026 labor demand is quantitative forecasting. Sorry, I put that as simple method because it's just the normal simple one. Yes. You identify your key metrics. Choose a measure driving labor needs. Probably last year or in the last 2 years, you have worked with 5 acres, and next year you want to add maybe 2 acres to your farmland. That automatically means you are going to increase your labor. That means there will be demand for more ants. Or you can use your historical ratio. That is your metrics, probably your number of acres or number of birds or number of um what have you, anything by your full-time um staff over the 3 seasons. Probably you used in 2023, oh, I farmed 5 acres of tomatoes. And in 2024, I increased it to 7. Probably in 2025, I increased it to 8 or 9. Now, asked me to break down my HR rigor. Your to divine it for you. But by the time we do this more calculation on that, I believe you understand what I mean by metric. And by FTE staff, I mean full-time equivalent staff. FTE means full-time equivalent. That is those staff that you know that are your full-time. There are some people that you just hire them based on they are just contract staff. So, but FTE means your full-time um equivalent staff. So over the 3 seasons. So you can use say 2023, 24, 25 to determine. Then with that, you will know that, oh, going into 2026, this is what I will need. Then it can be projects. Apply, okay, now you will now use your project to apply the 26 target for core staff requirements. Okay, so I believe that forecasting requires little mathematics. So let's just do this together. This calculation on that is going with what I have in option B. That is quantitative forecasting, which I call the simple method and easier to do. For example, now let's use I am a tomato farmer and in the previous years, let's say 3 seasons, my average cultivation has been 5 acres. And I want to use that 5 acres now to forecast my 2026. So, I mean, 5 acres, I use 15 full-time equivalent staff. If I divide my 15 by 5 acres, that means for 1 acre, I use 3 staff. So this is telling me that if for 2026, my goal or my plan is to farm 7 acres of tomatoes, that means I'll have to multiply my 7 acres by 3 since I have 3 people for 1 acre. We understand, which will give us 21 staffs. Now, let's say I'm also a poultry farmer on the other side. For my 2,000 birds that I bought, for my average 2,000 birds, it requires full 5 staff for me to manage them and for perfect productivity. So that means if I divide this 2,000 by 5 staff, I know that I have 400 birds. Each one staff is managing 400 birds by that calculation. That means if I have to go in 2026 for 3,000 birds, I have to divide it by by 400 birds, and I will get 7.5, which is averagely, on average, I must get 8 full-time staff to manage my poultry farm. I believe this is a bit understandable, simple mathematics though. Then our step, analyzing your current workforce supply. How do we analyze? You are forecasted, you have done a little calculation. So how do you want to analyze it now? That is, we want to identify who we have and where the risk lies. So if we cannot identify the risk, we might not know the solution. So the current workforce audit is what we first do. What was the percentage of staff? Example, say in 10 employees, 2 people left. It is of high risk if our percentage turnover that company is greater than 15%. Now, if the percentage is greater than 15%, that means we have to plan in 2026 to overhire or increase retention. By retention means we have to draft a plan to keep them, to hold them, to still work for us. Now, if 2 people left of 10, that is 2/10, and multiplying it by 100, that's 20%, which is greater than 15%. So it's either we overhire next year or we plan on retention. We'll get there. Then another thing that we have to analyze is retirement and succession. So which kind of employee do we have? Like the skilled ones, for example, let's say the managers, the specialists, those people that manage our machines and all. Are we looking at it that, oh, in the next 5 years, this one we want to retire? So it's if for example, a major employee, like a specialist, is retiring in the next 5 years, it's a critical risk that needs formal knowledge transfer. How do we do this? We have to plan succession planning. That is, we have to look for somebody We have to hire somebody who will work hand in hand, who will study that person that is going to live in the next 5 years, so that by that 5 years, the person will be a mastery of that particular special area. Then another area that we need to analyze is internal skills inventory. What are the core competencies of each employee? Is it that this one, what they can only operate is the tractor? If what this one can only operate is tractor and maintenance, and this one can do this, or somebody is advanced in software, we need to identify the skill gap. As technology is increasing and agribusiness is moving towards um, new innovations, so we also need to go as it's going. We need to grow together. So you need to look at it. Oh, in the next 5 years, people might not be using this Anthroware that I'm still using. So if eventually I want to even purchase this machine, do I have somebody that can undo it? Do I need to hire somebody? If in 2026 I'm buying a new tractor, do I have somebody that can do the maintenance for me, or I need to train someone, or I need to? So these are the areas that we need to audit. Another audit that we need to do to work on our workforce supply is we need to focus on retention. This is the best plan. I mean, I label it the best plan because for critical skill employees, we need to, retention is the best. Retention is holding them and like holding them to work for us, not tying them, holding them to work for us. So we need to review compensation. I must say today that agribusiness, as much as we are the one that brings food into the table, we we tend to underpay. I don't know how best to put it, to shape my mouth to put it, but I've said what I said. We kind of underpay, and we need to look into this because salary is competitive now. There's pressure. There is a lot of, we all know what is going on. So to retain what we have, we need to look into making our salary competitive. We also need to offer development and care. So some of us might be looking at, oh, my farm is in one rural area. So what do I do for my people? Today, we will all look at it together. So do they have clear path to grow? Some of these people that you have working in local areas, they are working because, not because they don't want to grow, not because they don't have plans for their life, but they are just held down probably to that. Some of your people that we call, oh, there's just my laborer or something, they have plans. We can retain them by offering development and care. We can ask them, okay, what is even your plan on your academics? Why did you stop at secondary school? Why did you stop ND? We can ask them and their welfare needs. We can meet them. We care and with progression, we drive them. These things will drive what? Retention. Okay, I move to the next slide now. Now, I put here some strategies for strategic retention. I call them strategic retention, which is welfare and growth for 2026. You know, as I've earlier mentioned, the most effective way to close your HR gap is to keep the talent you already have. Because those ones you've audited them, or you can audit them if you have not done that, you can actually know the areas that they need growth. So it's easier for you to grow them with the way the country is now. Retention is best for agribusiness than you looking for the cost and the time it will take us to even look for people at this moment now. It might be a bit difficult, or it might be more costly. I think retention is more, it's the best and effective way to close your HR gap. Now, let's show employee in agribusiness that we value them. They are not laborer. They are people that want this career efficiency. Let me put that word like that. They want career efficiency too. They want to be mentioned the way people that go to offices are mentioned. I believe somebody is with me. Okay, so I just said the first strategic retention that I have is staff welfare, investing in life and health. I've once been, okay, from where I came from, there was a time I was working before I did my NYC and all like that. It's about 5, 6 years now, Sha. So that time I was working in a school and I got to know that there is a particular hospital, apart from the fact that mm, people, there are people that work in big companies or probably, let me say, medium SMEs that provide HMO, like say, Azamansat, they use Avance HMO, they use what have you. This particular private hospital is located in a local area, and what they do is, apart from people that can have access to their normal HMOs in their hospital, they have their own HMO. The clinic has their own HMO that for a local family of 4, 5 can register with them, and they have a subsidized way of doing it. Now, I got to know that, okay, they came to that school that time and they were telling the proprietress that, oh, you can advertise also some of your parents that cannot do a bigger HMO or that don't have access to it. So these are some of the things that we can also do as agribusiness. We can look for local HMO or health relief, partner for basic accessible health coverage. Some of us, if I visit our farm, I hope I will even see what we call first aid box. I'm coming next week to check. So local HMOs, we can partner with them. When somebody is working for you and knows that, oh yes, my health is covered at least to a large extent, you have bought loyalty. It yields a lot of huge loyalty in return, and there'll be lower rate of absenteeism. People will not just call you and say, "Oh, Madam Olga, I'm not feeling fine today, so I will not be able to come," because they know that even if they are not feeling fine, the hospital, the bill, probably 50% or I don't know, is on you. So they will be loyal to you to an extent. Then there is another one that I call contribution scheme. You can facilitate structured savings or retirement contributions. E.g., you can do administrative support. Oh, you want to buy there is a way they could do this cooperative, this thing. You can create your own mini cooperative within your staff. Oh, if you do this, if you contribute, if such amount, this amount is removed from your salary based on agreement. Please, let's put it on paper if at all we want to do any of this. Now, if you, for example, if I remove 10,000 naira from you, but you collect it, which is going to be 110,000. As a company, we will wrap it up for you to be 150 to 150,000 naira. Such an employee knows that, oh, that little amount will cover something. So you can introduce that if that works for you or if that will work for your employee. There is what we call child education relief also. Child education, you can offer annual non-salary benefit for child education. Most of these um should I say labor your labor agribusiness laborers, they most of them probably the child is going to it can even be a government school that only needs development levy. And if he knows that, oh, by September my MD or CEO is going to release 30,000 naira for me, at least that will cover for all the developmental levy for my 3 children in school. And of course, with that, I can buy 1 or 2 textbooks and they will have a better life. Then they will be so ready to be loyal to you. They will work for you. So this is part of some strategic retention that we can use on part A. Another one is the part B, which has to do with your staff themselves. I call them staff growth or upskilling and loyalty. We can turn those employees that we have. Most of these people, they want to also press computer the way we press it. They also want to have access to city life, the way it is done in the city, the way they see it on social media. They want to do it also. So you can offer academic support. Oh, why are you stopped here? Why did you stop going to school? You can look at it together. Period. You need them to be fully on ground. Okay, advise them, look for a part-time education that you can use to further your education, whereby you probably pay 50% or you do a flexible scheduling or reimbursement. Or if you do it and you graduate, to I'm going to pay back 50%, 60%. These people will be encouraged because they know that you have their own growth in mind also. Then reskilling program, you can fund certification or specialized trainings. I know that some of our farmers came for, let me use FutuX for example. There's this conference that we did around July, I guess. Yes. And some of our farmers, the big farmers, they came, and it won't take you anything to just, or probably your manager or somebody in the farm to just follow you. You just tell the person, dress up, I have this conference I want to go to. You go together. While you were busy doing building your connection and relationship with other farmers, this particular person you brought to the meeting will just take it as, oh, this is an advantage. We'll sit down and make sure that everything they talked there is jotted down, and you will see a return on investment. One day will just come, you just hear that, oh, and oh, this thing is not working. We have this plot of land, and I want to do this. You will just hear such employee telling you that, oh, the conference we went to, they discussed soilless farming. Can't we just use this side of this thing to practice it? And that's how you would just get your return on just return of your loyalty to that person, because you have taken that person to that training. And there are other certifications that people do, that companies do. We do it at FutuX. We do. There are other companies that do it too. You can just have it on paper. Oh, I will send you for this certification in 2026, which they are doing in June. If you get this certification, it's based on agreement. Even big companies do it. You have to return. You have to use it for me. But we have to be what? We have to be flexible in whatever terms we are putting. Don't extort people based on the fact that, oh, yes, um I've paid for certification. But you can just put a reasonable time frame. If I send you for this certification, you will come back, you train two other people in the farm, and you stay for 1 year where we practice this particular certification. We practice this farming, and it yields for you. We cannot all we cannot, as the MD or as the CEO or as the owner of the business, put everything on our brain at the same time. There are things that we can just use to buy the loyalty of these our staff. So these are some of the strategic retention that I put in place. There are others. We can also browse and look for others that works well for you. But I think these ones are just enough, or are minimal, and they're affordable. They are things we can just pick one, probably from A, pick one from B, and just put it in place and see how it works out with your retention. All right, now the third step, which is closing the gap, that is your combined strategy. Of course, I've diverted a bit by talking about the strategic retention methods that I have. But then let's go deeper into the difference between your demand and supply in your HR gap. Now, here is how we feel it. We have the strategic A, which is targeted recruitment. Like I mentioned, we have agri-business is not staying on a spot again. It's not what it used to be. So as it's moving, we need to do a targeted recruitment. So our 2026 should not look like it used to be. We need to create something different this time. And we need to seasonal labor. In case you have seasonal labor, there's no point having these people all to yourself for the whole year and um wasting cost on probably wages or salary. You know that you are a tomato farmer, and sorry for mentioning tomato farmer. I think that's the closest to my mouth. You have your tomato harvest between probably January to March. And there is this other farmer that is closer to you, whose own farming is probably beans or something, you can partner with such person, with local producers to share labor pools. In our last, we have a webinar last month in my company, and Damilola, if I don't mistaken, mentioned something that for our harvest, they go as far as getting laborers in the north to come and harvest in the southwest. But she doesn't do it alone. She has people around that, oh, when you are done with your people, instead of releasing these people to be wandering or to not to have something to do at that free period, you can work with them, partner with local producers to share labor pool. Oh, my own harvest or what I will need this particular set of people for is between January and March, and you need them from April to. So you just cover the gap. By that, you are helping yourself to reduce cost, and you're also helping the staff also not to be stranded or not to be redundant within the period that you don't need them. Then skilled roles, you need to seek for candidates with transferable skill for cross training. Hey, we need to seek um people with transferable skills, people that you know that okay, if you train them for this, they can also be useful for other things. Um, so sorry, okay. So my strategy B, I say, is cross training. Now, internal solution, what you can do internally. So your internal solution involves training and upskilling what you have, the current staff you have, which includes cross training. Staff learn second roles for flexibility. For example, now I mentioned while I was saying your strategic retention now that you can offer what I called probably part-time um, sponsors for schooling. So you can A and B can learn a particular skill together so that when A is absent, the gap will not be seen. So you can make sure that, okay, within your team, you train people to learn one or two skills that they can do together. Then another thing is process automation. Invest in automation to reduce manual labor demand. I think, like I mentioned earlier, so agribusiness is not what it used to be. It's not what our fathers did. So we are in the tech age now, and there are a lot of innovations happening in the agri sector. So I would want you in 2026 to try and automate your process. Invest in automation to reduce manual labor demand. Then we have to leverage on experts, use skill staff as internal mentors and trainers. So with the next, I think with my audit template that I have, we are going to learn, we are going to see more to this when this particular topic that I talked about. Please, let's go to the next slide. Next slide, please. All right. Now, I put here that your immediate HR action. So if you have not listened to anything I've been saying since, I think you have to listen to this particular one that I want to talk about, like your immediate HR action plan. So it's more like a summary, but not a perfect summary of what we've been saying since morning. So for 2026, you have to define your 2026 goal. I mentioned earlier that by now, if you don't have your goal, if you don't have what you want to work with, like your process, if you don't have it, then you might be behind us a bit, but still you can still catch up. You have like 4 weeks to catch up with us. So you have to define what you want. Example, okay, I want to add to my farm, I want to do this, I want want to do that. So we have to add that to what you want to do. You have to plan. So know what you want. That's why I put that in bracket. That you have to know what you want exactly. Then number 2 is that you need to conduct a simple skill audit within your farm, within your business. You need to what? Conduct a simple skill audit. For your 5 most important role, list the top 3 critical skills needed for 2026. Like you are having 5 people. Are you just having 5 people or 5 skilled people? Are these people up to date with what you want to do in 2026? Probably you want to innovate, you want to go into automation, like we said in, probably that's your option now. You want to automate in 2026. So this staff you have at hand, are they up to date on these skills that you want to introduce? Or they need training, or they need, so you have to divine the quality you have against what you want. Then implement at least one welfare benefit. Stop looking at your full-time staff or this thing as they are common laborers. I'm just located in a local area. Please implement at least one welfare benefit. Identify the easiest, most impactful benefits. Anyone from what we've mentioned, or you want to go and research on more. So you have to prioritize retention, because that will help a lot. Then the last one here is identify one automation or tech target. You too, like in your plan for 2025, while you are planning on people or planning on skill, while you're planning on people or planning on skills, also plan on moving tech-wise. Just know that, oh, I want to you also innovate. My farm must have at least one technology in 2026, no matter how small it is. So be open to what? Innovation. So next slide, please. All right. I put here, like I mentioned earlier, that I'm just going to give us a template for somebody that needs, templates now. I don't know, all these things they have been saying is grammar. I don't really understand how to go about it. This is a template, and I'm going to just explain in few minutes. Now, this our template. The first table is showing how you rate your employee. In case you want to do, maybe somebody is looking at it like, oh, she talked about skill audit and I want to do that in my farm. I really want to do that. I don't just want to employ people. I want to employ skilled people. So this is how you can do your skill audit. Now, our rating, anywhere we put 1, it means the person is a novice, and such person will need constant supervision and actionable status. What you have to do now as the employer is what? You need immediate training for that person. Anybody we rate 1 for that particular skill that we rate that person 1, it means the person needs what? Immediate training, because he's a novice to that. Then anybody we rate 2 means is proficient. That means the person can actually such person can perform, but might need to we might need to upskill that person, or we try to improve to the level of being an expertise. So what is your actionable status as an employer for anybody that is having 2, or for any skill that person is having 2? You need to maintain the skill, not to drop. Maintaining the skill means, if this particular thing that this one is doing, if there is an innovation or a kind of shift in how it is being done, that means you have to keep that person up to date. The person needs to be shifting as the technology is shifting towards that thing that that person does. So that means we maintain and develop that person. Now, for anybody that we rate 3, that means the person is an expert. So that person can perform and can also train others. So that means we have to plan on succession, or we have to make that person a mentor candidate. If we get that table, just show me an emoji. Let me know that you get that table, because this is important, because we have to go and practice it in our employment for our forecasting for 2026. Now, the second table is showing the real audit of our farm now. We have first employee, which is John Smith by name. Those are my own employee. So you can impute your own employee. Now, is the John Smith, according to my own farm, is the farm manager. Now, when it comes to tractor or heavy equipment operation, John Smith has 3. That means he's very good at that. He's an expert, just as we say on the rating table. Then, but when it comes to irrigation system, he also has 3. He's an expert. He can do that. He can manage irrigation. Then when it comes to digital record keeping or data input, John is not that good at that, but he can perform. He's having 2. That means he's just proficient. But when it comes to precision agriculture or sensor monitoring, John is having 1. That means he's a novice. He doesn't know that. Then when it comes to mechanical and welding, he also has 3. And like that, and like that. So look at Benita, and is a fit and is just a field person. Now, when it comes to what John has 3, Benita can do it, but she's not an expert. But when it comes to data and recording, we will see that Benita has 3. That means Benita is better than John when it comes to data input and record keeping. And also, when it comes to precision agriculture, that means Benita has 2. So in this, we have the total critical score is there. Please, let's move to the next slide, which is the third table. Let me now show how we summarize our audit. All right, now this is the decision from our just concluded audit. We have deficit area or our I gap now. We have the digital record keeping. Now, in our digital record keeping, why is this gap critical for 2026? It is critical because poor data leads to what? Inaccurate planting, fertilizer cost, and compliance issues. So that means if we don't keep good record, we don't even know the last time we put fertilizer on our watermelon or our tomatoes. We don't know the last time we do that. So if we don't have this, we might lose a lot of our capital or investment, what we have invested in bringing out good produce in 2026. So, what is the suggested HR action to close that gap now? We will notice from our last audit that we just did now that Benita scored 3. That means Benita is an expert in this particular digital record keeping. That is, Benita can impute on your laptop or anywhere anything you give Benita to keep record. She's very good at that. So Benita should then mentor John and other people in the company to doing that. That is why I said it's not necessarily employing new people. Sometimes we just need to cover up with skills. So you can just have Benita train others in the company on that record keeping and data management. Then precision agriculture or sensor monitoring. So we need new VRT or variable rate technology. Equivalent equipment require a specialist operator. Probably you just bought a new machine, variable rate technology. Now you just include that, but we don't have anybody that is an expert in that currently. Now you might be looking at it that, that means for me to have a very high productivity or to make good use of this machine that I just bought, I will need external hiring. Now, for the first thing, we are able to make use of our internal training, using Benita to train others. That means we don't need to go and hire a specialist. With that, we have cut down the cost. But for the second one, where we have the gap, which is precision agriculture and sensor monitoring, we will need to hire an external expert. just one person with a score of 3 or external training, send on, or we can better send one of these staff that you know that, oh, if I send Benita for training, probably a 2 weeks training or something somewhere, I know that Benita can catch up. Instead of hiring new person, I can just send Benita to go and do that. Or John is a fast learner and already he is having to so I can train on that aspect, or I hire an expert to come and train, probably a permanent expert that will build succession with, or a new person. So that is how audits can be done. This is just a simple audit. Please, let's move to the next slide. And the final one, I guess. Yes. Host, please. Okay, so that is my 3-step demand, supply, and gap covering steps for our forecasting for 2026. I don't know if anyone has any question to ask me. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. That was a very detailed presentation. Thank you most sincerely. Thank you once again for the amazing presentation. We sincerely appreciate you. We will take questions, like you rightly said. Before we take questions, let me quickly just introduce to us about FarmCAS, so that then we'll come back to the question. Please note that you have 2 options to either drop the question in the chat box, or I can give you the opportunity to mute yourself and ask your questions. So let me quickly go to the presentation about FarmCAS. So for those of us coming across FarmCAS for the very first time, FarmCAS is an agricultural HR platform. And what we do, particularly for farm owners and managers like yourself on this call, is to help you with your HR needs. So you want to hire people, we don't help you fire people. But if you want to hire people based on the talent you have a need for, that's one of the things FarmCAS does. So we basically take up the headache of sourcing for talent across Nigeria and even sub-Saharan Africa. We interview them for you and we match them to your organization. So we have this platform where we get to do all of those things, which is career.farmcas.com. It's a platform that is serving dual purpose. Dual purposes, rather. One is to help talent in the agri space who are looking for jobs. So once they come here, they see available job listings and they can apply for them. The second purpose is for agribusiness owners, individuals who own businesses or manage agribusinesses that are interested in identifying talent to work with them. So as a farm owner or a farm manager, you can come here, register, and of course, list the position you are hiring for. We also have a community to support this. I'm very sure majority of, so a lot of individuals who register for this particular webinar got invited to join our community. So this is us basically say, please take your time to explore this platform, career.farmcas.com. Once you get there, you can register. Once you click on register, you follow the prompts to input your email, and we have your data in our database. And it's next to free in terms of listing your job on this platform. In short, we look forward to helping you in 2026 as far as securing talent to help your agribusinesses is concerned. Thank you for listening. On that note, we'll